It's been a pretty good season series with the Amerks, and just coming off of last weekend and getting through the week, how are things feeling here heading into tonight?
Well, I think you have to feel good. It's really the only alternative, right? You've got to just kind of move on, and we've talked a lot about the controllables, and when you lose hockey games, you just got to turn the page, whether it's an individual performance or a team performance. And we got off to such a great start in January, and unfortunately, the next 3 weeks are a little bit of highs and lows, and you end up the month 4-6-1. And for some teams that are maybe 5 or 6 or 8 games above 500, they can take a month like that. But for us, that we're already behind the 8 ball at the Christmas break, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But at the end of the day, you just got to keep moving forward, and hopefully we can get a couple big wins for the All-Star break, because with 30 games left, 23 divisional matchups, there's a lot of movement. But at the same time, you got to get the team to sizzle, and sizzle means winning hockey games, and that's certainly something we got to start doing.
The team is about as healthy as it's been almost all season long. Is that going to be a benefit heading into the weekend?
Well, I hope so. I mean, our team lineup's not going to change significantly this weekend. I mean, we've got some guys that are available that are not going to be able to play, but at the same time, when you start looking at the IR report, really, besides Dahu and Howerlick and Wedman, we're fairly healthy. We're still waiting word on Castles here today, and he's in Kingston seeing a hand specialist this morning. So, that situation could be, you can play, or no, you're done for 6 to 8 weeks. So we're still waiting on that. But overall, the lineup will pretty much be the same as it was last weekend, although Lodin is back, which is a great for him and great for the team if he's playing to the top of his game.
You've certainly had your fair share of battles against Seth Appert-led clubs. How do you go about kind of slowing down what they want to do offensively?
Well, I think from our perspective, every team's got their strengths and weaknesses, and if you look at their two best strengths, they're very good on breakouts. They got a veteran team over there. I mean, they do mix in some younger guys, but it is a very, very good mix. And so in terms of their breakouts, they're the top of the league in breakouts. So how do you counteract that? Well, you got to have a good forecheck. I do think when we're on and playing to our identity, forecheck is a strength. So that's certainly a huge key tonight. They're also one of the top teams off the rush. So when you start thinking about the Toronto Marlies and some of the other teams we face that are great off the rush, they are one. They generate the majority of their great looks off the rush. So again, for us, is how we're going to manage the puck. Are we going to be tracking hard and getting back and preventing that second wave? So those are going to be the two hugest keys against them. And conversely for us, it's that forecheck. We should have plenty of energy. We haven't played since Saturday, so hopefully our forechecking routes are on, and we got physical up ice to counter that breakouts. And again, when you start looking at their weaknesses, they're near the bottom of the league in a lot of D-zone coverage categories. So that means you got to make them defend and spend some time in OZP. And if you can manage the puck down there and make them defend, you're going to get your looks. Now that doesn't guarantee goals because there's a puck stopper there, and usually if the puck stopper's hot, you're not going to get a lot of goals. But again, making them defend and trying to earn our grade A's is going to be certainly another key tonight.
Your guys should have some good confidence going into this game, especially Igor and Victor, as they collected 4 points each the last time you were in Rochester. How much does that kind of feed off the momentum going into tonight's game?
Well, I think as you mentioned, there's been a lot of great battles with Rochester, and the majority of the games either go to overtime or shootout or last-minute goals. And we were fortunate there on January 2nd. It was one of our best performances of the year, and we were able to beat them 5-1. And if you remember correctly, that Ridley, Gregg, Lodin, and Sokoloff line was on fire. That was a period of time there when Lodin just got back, and we put them together, and they put 3 or 4 really good games together, and consequently it resulted in wins. So usually when your best players are your best players, you have a chance of success. So we're not going to really Gregg in the lineup tonight, but Lodin is back, and Sokolov's in, and Robbie Arventi's got to crank it up as well. He's got 2 games under his belt now since a 3-month hiatus with that ankle injury, or knee injury, I should say. So again, these are the type of players that got to come to the forefront for us to have success.
A couple more minutes here with head coach Troy Mann ahead of this matchup with the Amherst. You mentioned Roby Arvente and Lassie Thompson as well, getting worked in and maybe dipping their toes in a little bit last weekend. Is it time for them now to kind of take the plunge and get back to, I guess, the peak of what we can expect of them?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's always difficult to miss time during the year. Missing 3 months of hockey is never easy. I thought Robbie's his better game was the Friday and the Saturday. He looked a little bit fatigued on Saturday, and that's normal. There's nothing like playing a game, so you can't mimic anything. And with the type of injury he did, there wasn't a lot of skating before. So to get 2 games under his belt, 3 practices, skill session and 2 good practices, I expect his game to elevate. I thought Tomer got better as the weekend progressed. Now he only missed 6 weeks, but I could see Saturday, with his skating and his ability to saw people off and getting back on the breakouts and being physical was certainly something we started to see on Saturday. So, he needs to focus on his skating ability, moving the puck north, being physical, being good on the PK, and that's the type of role here we're going to give him this week before the break.
And lastly, let's touch on goaltending because it's been a bit chaotic in recent weeks. What's the plan for tonight and this weekend?
Well, chaotic's a good word, Footy. I mean, I think it's been chaotic since 5 minutes into Game 1. So we got 4 goalies in the building, so we're carrying 4. So a lot of extra work for Justin Peters. But Sogard is back, skated this morning, and we'll get the start tonight. And obviously we got another game to go on Saturday, but it's all about performance and it's all about giving ourselves the best chance to win. So hopefully he's on tonight because he certainly can be a difference maker when he's on.
All right, lastly, it's 80s retro night here at CAA Arena tonight. What kind of memories come back to you when you think about the 1980s, Coach?
80s, I mean, that's probably the best era going. I remember going to U of T in 88, 89, so that was a real good time. And I think we listened to a lot of Def Leppard back then as well. So 80s music, I don't think there's anything like it. So hopefully our guy is on tonight with a lot of great 80s music. And I thought that was a great decade. So hopefully we can top it off with 2 points tonight.
Yeah, we throw it back to the 80s, and the Sens hoping to throw it back to early January when they beat the Amherst 5-1. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks a lot, guys.